A game that halfway through the third quarter, I mentioned to Alex.
Takes down Palmyra 41-38. But Randy, this is going to be exciting to see a replay of, I'm sure your heart's still beating from yesterday, what happened in this Yutan game.
Absolutely. A game that halfway through the third quarter, I mentioned to Alex, boy, I just really wish this game wouldn't end. It's such a good game. And
You got your
then
wish.
I almost regretted saying that.
Let's take a peek at how the Yutan Chieftains made the semifinals.
One last hope for the Yutan Chieftains. They'll lob it down on the other end of the court to Dakota. Dakota had a shot at them. He nailed the shot, and the shot counts. The shot counts. But was it a 2 or a 3? They say it was a 3 to tie the ball game for Colby Dakota.
Wow.
It's a 3-point make, and a great look there on our replay. It was indeed a 3 from Colby Dakota, and we are heading to overtime off the make by the senior.
Did he? But
Colby Dakota with the enormous shot. Doesn't get any bigger than that. Maybe elevate the stage to the semifinals, but that was an incredible way to force overtime, and the Chieftains prevailed.
the problem is it was 2 overtimes, so this team has
takes down Palmyra 41-38. But Randy, this is going to be exciting to see a replay of, I'm sure your heart's still beating from yesterday, what happened in this Yutan game.
Absolutely. A game that halfway through the third quarter, I mentioned to Alex, boy, I just really wish this game wouldn't end. It's such a good game. And
You got your
then
wish.
I almost regretted saying that.
Let's take a peek at how the Yutan Chieftains made the semifinals.
One last hope for the Yutan Chieftains. They'll lob it down on the other end of the court to Dakota. Dakota had a shot at them. He nailed the shot, and the shot counts. The shot counts. But was it a 2 or a 3? They say it was a 3 to tie the ball game for Colby Dakota.
Wow.
It's a 3-point make, and a great look there on our replay. It was indeed a 3 from Colby Dakota, and we are heading to overtime off the make by the
But
senior.
did he? But
Colby Dakota with the enormous shot. Doesn't get any bigger than that. Maybe elevate the stage to the semifinals, but that was an incredible way to force overtime, and the Chieftains prevailed.
the problem is it was 2 overtimes, so this team has played a complete extra quarter coming into this game. They had to play a full 5 quarters last night to get here, but they showed the resolve, and they got a shot at the finals.
Well, that's a good way to start our pregame show, brought to you by Columbus Motor Company, your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealer, where you'll find one low price, plain and simple, always. A couple key players for today. Let's start with Grand Island Central Catholic, and it begins with their point guard, Russ Martinez. Martinez, a junior, 6 foot, averaging 10.5 points per game. What do you like from his game, Randy?
I'll tell you what, he just runs the offense. It's a well-built team. They share the basketball pretty well, but he's kind of the one that stirs the drink, so to speak, and keeps things rolling.
Meanwhile, for the Yutan Chieftains, their key player, Brady Tim. He had a fine game yesterday.
He had a great game yesterday. He was 9 of 12 from the free throw line in the 2 overtimes. He was a difference maker.
The Yutan Chieftains and the Grand Island Central Catholic Crusaders getting ready to go at it in the semifinals. The stakes, a spot in the championship. Tip-off coming your way soon on News Channel Nebraska.
Welcome back to Around Our Area. I'm Mike Flood, and we're in our own backyard here in Norfolk.
Nebraska has been good to me. I've raised a family, built a business, and served my neighbors as Speaker of the Legislature. Now I'm running for the legislature again to lower property taxes, strengthen our local economies, and protect the values that will keep Nebraska great for our kids and grandkids. I'm Mike Flood. I'm a Republican, and I'm asking for your vote. Enjoy the game.
The strong-hearted, the tender-hearted, the young at heart. Your heart. At Faith Regional Cardiovascular Institute, we have your best interest at heart. Staffed by world-class cardiologists, surgeons, and specialists who will be with you every step of the way. We're in your community, We're equipping you with the tools needed to get the life-saving care that's so essential in a cardiac event. We're collaborating to provide the latest and innovative diagnostic and treatment. We're partnering with you to manage your heart condition, working together to achieve the best possible outcome. Providing seamless care to get you back on the road to recovery. Back to the moments that warm your heart, make your heart skip a beat, and make you want to say, eat your heart out. Faith Regional Cardiovascular Institute.
Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the weather across Nebraska because we do have a winter storm warning in the west and a winter weather advisory for the rest of the state.
Welcome back here on News Channel Nebraska. The anthem's in the books. The teams getting ready on their benches over there, GICC and Yutan. Both of them winning in close contests yesterday, at least by score. GICC, they led by 9 coming into the fourth. Watched that lead kind of go away, and I talked to Coach Tino Martinez on the bench before the game today, and I said, are you worried about the way they finished that game? And he was so calm and cool, and he said, no, if anything, that speaks to how good Palmyra was and their fight. He's not worried about his boys. On their side, Yutan down 3, 0.6 on the clock. They hit the buzzer beater to send it to overtime against Ponca. They eventually go on to win, obviously, to get a spot here. So I talked to their coach, Justin Peterson, about that emotional high, and he said, hey, we're going to carry that energy into today's game. I also asked him, well, do you think your guys are a little bit tired playing all those extra minutes, the intensity? And he said, it's state basketball. Every game you're up for. The guys woke up this morning. They were excited all day. They'll be ready to play today. Michael, let's go back up to you and let's get this game going.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, and I agree. It is the state tournament. They're going to be energized no matter what, even after a double OT game. Well, it's time for your starting lineups, brought to you by Bryan Health. Bryan, forward together. First for the top seed, Grand Island Central Catholic Crusaders. The key player, Russell Martinez, a junior point guard. Then Kobe Bales in the starting lineup. He's a 6'2" junior. Isaac Herbeck, a sophomore at 6'3" that scores over 11 points per game. Marcus Lowry, another sophomore in that starting lineup. He's a 6'2" forward, scoring 9 points per contest. And Day Jangmer rounds out that lineup. He's 6'9" and can be a pest down low. Who else besides our key player Martinez sticks out to you, Randy, from that starting 5 for the Crusaders?
You know, it was a team that there was nobody that really jumped out. They had 3 people in double figures yesterday. It's a team that understands their roles probably as well as anybody that I saw yesterday. And it's going to be a tall task for anybody to get by this Central Catholic team.
For the Yutan Chieftains, they hope they're up to the task. The starters, Trey Knudsen, a senior at 6'2", leading the team with a 14-point-per-game average. 5'9" guard Will Hayes in the starting lineup. Then Brady Tim, our key player. He's a junior, scoring 13.5 per game. Samuel Peterson, a sophomore at 6'2". He gets 3 rebounds per contest to pair with 4 points. And Colby Takota, Mr. Big Shot from yesterday, the 6'6" senior, hit that overtime forcer, and eventually the Chieftains earning that W. Now it's time to enjoy the game thanks to United Healthcare, where small towns matter. Ready for the tip, Day Jangmer in the middle for GICC. But Yutan controls it, and we're off and running. The Chieftains, the 4 seed, 23-3 on the season. Right away, a pull-up jumper. A little strong there by Tim. Head coach Tino Martinez for the Crusaders has his GICC program in a groove in recent seasons, their 3rd straight trip to Lincoln. Trying inside to Jangmer and out of bounds.
Yutan starting the ball game in a man-to-man. Yesterday they played almost the entire game in a man-to-man, and they will guard that next pass. So they'll be very aggressive in it.
And jumping in front of Jangmer again and nearly took it away, but he secures it. Dakota almost had that steal, but the three ball, Isaac Herbank, starts things off for the Crusaders. They were trying to deny that entry pass, but the scramble play wound up working out for GICC. That foul against Colby Dakota.
The one thing I have noticed, the games today, you're into the semifinals a little further in the tournament. The games have been called much closer today than they were yesterday. Some of the games got a little physical yesterday. There were been a lot of fouls called today here at the Devaney Center.
And some physical games at Lincoln East yesterday as well. We'll see if that trend continues here for the nightcap. That pass zinged out of bounds, and a turnover for the Crusaders. Yutan searching for their first points. They're also familiar with this stage. Their third straight trip to Lincoln too. Last year finishing as runners-up, losing to BRLD, who we'll see in the next game today.
Central Catholic was in his zone the first couple of trips down their man now.
And they get a steal in transition. Bales has it swiped away. The Chieftains try their hand at the fast break. Pull up Jay for Knudsen, and the first bucket for Yutan. He saw 1-on-3 but was not deterred.
Not at all, and that's not always a wise decision.
No, but he saw the defense sinking in, went for the jumper. Jangmer, that time a good entry pass, gets by the front man, and Jangmer with an easy lay-in. Brady Tim over to Hayes and back. Trying to work the high ball screen. A hedge there by Bales. The three ball in. Brady Tim. Well, they hedged on that ball screen, but then fell right off and left him open. Martinez from the elbow. A little strong. He'll get another try, though.
Jangmer, a big tip back out front.
Spin move and gets the roll. A nice effort by Marcus Lowry. Three different players have scored for the Crusaders. You said they're balanced, and that's what we're seeing at the start of this game. A bucket and one for Colby Dakota. He joins the scorebook. Foul against Bales. Your instant replays today brought to you by Woodhouse. Shop Woodhouse today at woodhouse.com and experience the Woodhouse difference. Both sides able to find some scoring here in the first 3 minutes. Martinez has it knocked free. Knudsen with the steal. That's the third turnover for the Crusaders already. A deep three ball, Knudsen just short. Martinez clears. Turnover number 4, that time just an errant entry pass. Not in a situation where it would lead to a fast break, though, and Yutan has to operate in the half court. Both of these teams, 3-loss teams. The NSAA saying that GICC's path was tougher. They had the more impressive wild card points. See that turnover. Looked like Dakota was trying to roll it out to his teammate.
And his teammate was not ready for it.
In the lane, not there for Lowry. Both sides doing a good job clearing the defensive glass in the first quarter. What a dump down, and the finish for Dakota, but that was all set up by Brady Tim.
What a pretty pass.
Tim leads the team with more than 150 assists on the season. You can see how he got to that impressive number. A pick and roll, but it goes wrong for the Crusaders. An offensive foul. They'll get that on Jangmer, and he'll have to go take a seat. Only his first.
They gave it to Herbeck.
Oh, pardon me,
31.
Herbeck. Jangmer just going to the bench anyways. Trying to find Dakota. The lob works. Right at the rim, and Colby Dakota, the man that enabled the Chieftains to get to the semis, has 7 points here in the first quarter. A 5-point lead for Yutan.
Goals. We hear a lot about those. As your financial partner, we share the same goals you've set for yourself and your family. That's why we constantly work to provide the right loans, saving products, and the life-improving financial services that make it possible to even exceed those goals. We're here to help you every step of the way.
A 5-point basketball game here in the first quarter. 2:53 remaining on the Aurora Cooperative scoreboard. Yutan forcing that timeout by Coach Tino Martinez. Crusaders trying to work it around the perimeter out of that discussion. Martinez trying to create. The Chieftains man-to-man up to the task. The Chieftain fans are on their feet. We know this is immediate family only, but it doesn't mean they can't get into the game. The Chieftains fans are fired up. And after a defensive stop, Yutan has the basketball up 5. Tim to the hoop. Can't finish, but the putback isn't there either. And Herbeck clears it. 2 good looks for the Chieftains, but no points.
If the Yutan crowd is immediate family only, some of these players have big families.
That's a very good point. They are indeed into the game, though. Another turnover on GICC. Diving on the court to corral it. Joel Pleskach. And a timeout called. Gives us a chance to tell you about one of our sponsors today. Platte Valley Bank. Your bank located right next door. Member FDIC. Michael Shively and Randy Brown with you on News Channel Nebraska, bringing you the night games here from the Bob Devaney Sports Center, Class C2. The winners onto the championship, and right now the Chieftains like where their team's at. They've forced 5 Crusader turnovers here in the first 6 minutes.
At the beginning of the game, and I said they were in a man-to-man, they're aggressive at it, and they will guard that next pass. They'll deny the next pass. They do a really good job of sagging back and filling in and rotating in that man-to-man. It'll be a challenge for GICC. It already has been.
Well, you think the trusty point guard Russ Martinez and Isaac Herbeck with 86 assists on the season. We'll see if they can adjust. Right now, the Chieftains owning the momentum in the first quarter. Brady Tim doing a lot of creating, gets to an open shooter. Pleskach with the roll from downtown. The second three of the game for Yutan. And they've more than doubled up GICC in the first 7 minutes. The Crusaders need to cut into that deficit before the quarter closes. They try the three. Herbeck off target. Strong rebound to Pleskach. The Chieftains push. Now they could play for the final shot if they choose to, and that's the signal from head coach Justin Peterson on the bench. The team
Coach
in
Peterson
black and red. Pardon me, Randy.
Coach Peterson obviously was right. They've carried that momentum and excitement over into the start of this game.
That energy that took down Ponca. Starting strong against GICC. Tim launches. Comes up short, 2 seconds for the Crusaders. Herbeck with the heave, and it hits back iron. The score at the end of the first quarter, Yutan 15, GICC 7. Today's broadcast made possible in part thanks to Nebraska Loves Public Schools. To see what happens every day in our public schools, watch their films at iloveps.org. An 8-point lead for the Chieftains on News Channel Nebraska.
We unleash abundant local assets,
inspire charitable giving,
and connect ambitious people
to build stronger communities
and a greater Nebraska.
Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the weather across Nebraska because we do have a winter storm warning in the west and a winter weather advisory for the rest of the state.
Ready for the second quarter here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. We do want to give a quick hello out to our friends at Dusters in Columbus. Hope things are good out in Platte County. If you want a shout out, hit us up online at NCN Sports, where you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Your second quarter is brought to you by Husker Rehab, with locations in Fairbury, Beatrice, Nebraska City, and 3 locations in Lincoln. A whistle against Brady Tim to start quarter number 2. But, Randy, we were talking off air. Brady Tim really is the guy that is initiating things for Yutan. He's a smooth basketball player and has that offense operating.
He does. And Yutan, a patient team on offense. They run a good offense. They set good screens. They make it difficult to defend them.
Jangmer with good low post position, and he gets the point-blank shot to go in. Jangmer, his couple looks down there have been right on target. You have to think the Crusaders will want to go back to it.
It looked like early in the ball game that Yutan really had a game plan to get the ball to Dakota in the paint, but they haven't gone back there since the first quarter. He had 7 at the break.
A baseline take. Knudsen just on for a journey from left to right. Now the Crusaders fans applaud the defensive effort. Yutan scraping past number 5 Ponca to get here and hoping to take down the top seed. The runners off the mark, and a tackle there by Dakota. That's his second foul. Leading scorer in the game with 7 points might have to sit for a bit here. Coach Justin Peterson is trusting he'll leave his senior on the floor.
He had 2 first-half fouls last night, and I'm not sure exactly when he got them, but I think they were in the first quarter. He ended up the game with 3.
Offensive foul. That's the second time This one against Herbeck again, it looks like. So he has a couple of offensive fouls. The officials have caught on to something on those off-ball screens.
Seen an awful lot of moving screened offensive foul calls in this tournament.
Must be a point of emphasis here for the NSAA. Now the Chieftains back to work. Coach Justin Peterson has built a good program there at Yutan, and good football program at that school too. They've been monsters in C2 in recent seasons. 3 ball, that goes. They've been developing players like Will Hayes. The senior cashes it from the left wing. Now Herbeck into the lane, swatted away by Dakota. Now the Chieftains in transition, the pull up, Brady Tim, money, his second three-pointer, and the lead swells to 12 for Yutan. Tim pulls up in front of Martinez, drains it. More second quarter action next.
What does farming mean to you? For most, it's hard work, dedication, and livelihood. Unfortunately, that also comes with risk. At Nebraska Crop Insurance in Beatrice, they know the non-stop dedication involved to keep your family protected from that risk and ensure their livelihood. Not only do they know everything about the coverage you need, they're also farmers themselves. So protect what means the most to you with the agent who knows what it means to be a farmer. Nebraska Crop Insurance, 615 Dorsey Street in Beatrice.
Boys State basketball is made possible in part thanks to the Nebraska Community Foundation. No dream is too big for a greater Nebraska. Turn up your dream switch. Visit nebraskahometown.org. I'm Michael Shifley, happy to be joined by Randy Brown up here in the booth. Chris Williams working the sidelines here at Bob Devaney Sports Center, and Yutan, they have blitzed the top seed here this evening.
They have the Crusaders on their heels right now. And a little surprised, but not completely surprised after watching them yesterday.
Well, I'll admit it. You can paint me surprised. This GICC team, 24-3, really impressive wins on the year. Not that Yutan doesn't have it, but this Crusaders team almost advanced in Class C1 last season as they commit their 6th turnover. I was on the call for the Crusaders against the Auburn Bulldogs in the first round of the Class C1 tournament in 2019, and it took a buzzer beater by Cam Binder to advance Auburn, and now down a class, GICC, the top seed. They're in trouble.
One thing you know about the Crusaders over the years, that now they've looks like they're about to settle back into a 1-3-1, and they play that pretty well.
Can the Chieftains diagnose it? Jangmer works the middle. Good bounce pass. And no chance there for Sam Peterson. That's off the mark, and a rebound to Martinez. Up ahead to a spinning Kobe Bales and draws a foul. Bales, a 6'2 junior, stays aggressive and earns a trip to the line. The whistle was against Knudsen. First point for Kobe Bales. In and out on the second. Bales yesterday finishing with 6. This defense now extending all the way towards midcourt.
And they'll trap out of it, and when you have Lowry at the top of that 1-3-1.
Can be a challenge. Knutson had an open look there, but couldn't hit. Lowry was wide open there on the left block, but he wasn't ready for the basketball, and it sails out of bounds for the 7th turnover of the first half. That was a prime chance there in transition for the Crusaders.
Yeah, it was, and you're right. Lowry had his back to the basketball.
The lob play, Dakota has it interrupted by Martinez. A fine play by the junior. Trying to shake the defense to the right. Bales, not that time. Here's Tim. Travel. The Chieftains have given it away a few times now. 4 turnovers themselves. Yutan riding a 6-game win streak. Couple losses to Auburn and Bishop Neumann before they embarked on this winning journey. Strong drive and good finish by Lowry. He has 4. Back to a single-digit game. Well, the 1-3-1 has certainly slowed down the Chieftains. Here's Tim, kicks out to a wide-open Hayes, and he hits it. Will Hayes, he has 2 triples. The lead back up to 12. Spin move, trying for the lefty finish. Lowry gets his own miss. It's blocked out, but Jangmer taps it in. Day Jangmer leading his team with 6 points here in the first half. That left corner seems to be a spot that keeps getting left open. Whoever post up there wants to shoot, they're going to get chances. Doesn't appear that Samuel Peterson wants to launch, though. Tim. Back to Peterson. He doesn't want a piece of that shot. So the runner, Trey Knutson, says, I don't mind shooting.
Good patience by Yutan against that 1-3-1. They made that zone shift and work awfully hard on the defensive end.
Now back-to-back possessions with buckets against the zone after initially feeling things out. Martinez off the mark on the 3 ball. Gets it right back, though, after Jangmer tracks down the miss. Here's Bales going to work, but it's taken away by Tim. Brady Tim leads the break. Pulls up, and they'll start in the half court. All the way over to Hayes from the same spot. A little short. Knutson applying a tight defense on Bales. Three ball launched. Turek won't connect. Tanner Turek, a 5'10" junior, averaging 5.5 per game. Today's game is brought to you in part by Stealth Broadband, proudly serving parts of Northeast Nebraska. Swatted away. Lowry got his paw on it, but Tim tracks it down. Well, if you don't want a team to stall the clock away, play aggressive defense, and the Crusaders nearly got the steal out of it.
Tell you what, they're making Marcus Lowry work awful hard at the top of that 1-3-1.
He looks frustrated. It's keep away. 2-on-1. Now Tim drives in, kicks out. Here's Peterson. Strong. Martinez from three-quarter court. And it's off the mark. The first half in the Class C2 semifinal belongs to Yutan. They own the Crusaders for a 26-14 advantage. We'll take a look at some highlights and analyze the game coming up at halftime on News Channel Nebraska.
Well, with a couple of minutes here at halftime, let's get you caught up on the weather. Winter storm warning, western half of the state for the most part. Just about everybody else, a winter weather mixed precipitation. As we go in that much, cast coming up.
Fuel Valley Sea Express Care.
Beatrice Community.
Our state to ensure local. Makes a difference throughout Nebraska. Graduates accept positions at the corner of Nebraska on a daily basis is Brian minimizing
all the pharmacy options. .com. Click on.
Welcome here at the back here to the Bob Devaney Sports Center. I just noticed there on that open transition that we do for NCN Sports, that last shot that you see is the game winner that beat Grand Island Central Catholic in last year's state tournament. It's Cam Binder sinking it. Don't worry, GICC fans, you weren't the only ones to fall victim to a Cam Binder game winner. That happened to North Bend Central in the championship as well. The Bulldogs, the reigning champs, by the way, they'll be playing tomorrow in Class C1. But right now our eyes are on Class C2, and Randy, that first half was all Chieftains. They lead 26-14 on the Faith Regional Physician Services scoreboard.
They do, but you know what? I would not be surprised at all if the Crusaders make a little second half run here to get back into this thing. This is it's a confident basketball team, and right now, if you have ever been around Tino Martinez, you know he'll figure something out.
You have to have confidence. You're a 24-3 team, the top seed. Your only losses on the season to teams that are classes above you. Grand Island, they only lost by 6 to one of the best teams in Class A. A 2-point loss to Wahoo, who's in Class B, and a loss to Lincoln Christian, who just got bumped today from the Class C1 bracket. So those losses are to outstanding teams. This team should have confidence. Looking at our Anderson Ford highlights, the problem, though, is they haven't been able to run a whole ton of offense with 8 turnovers.
Yeah, that has been their Achilles heel in this one. Yesterday, I had them only for 6 turnovers in the entire game. It was played pretty clean, but they have more than that here at halftime.
Jangmer with a deuce there. He had 6 points in the first half. I think that's something that the Crusaders could try to get a little more of down in the paint.
He struggled yesterday some. They tried to get him the ball, and there were an awful lot of hands in the area, and he had trouble finding the handle on the basketball some yesterday. He's done a much better job of that today. I wouldn't be surprised if they look for him a little more.
Marcus Lowry forcing it through there on that last highlight. The 1-3-1 zone looked like momentarily confused Yutan, but then it stopped bothering them. Colby Dakota, he had 7 first half points to lead the Chieftains. Couple of back-to-back buckets by him.
Dakota with 7 points in the first quarter. Didn't score in the second.
There's the shooting from Yutan. They were able to connect on 5 3-pointers, 2 for Hayes, 2 for Tim, and 2 for Pleskach. More Jangmer. Brady Tim, he was the one setting everybody up and sometimes fooling them with the pull-up in transition. Will Hayes got in on the 3-point action. 12 points is as high as I had the lead for Yutan in the first half, and that's where it stands here at the break. Those are your halftime highlights, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Lincoln Kia of Grand Island. See their huge selection of new and used cars and trucks on Deers Avenue. Proudly serving the GI, Hastings, and Kearney areas, and a proud supporter of area athletes. Anderson of GrandIslands.com. Well, one other game in action right now on News Channel Nebraska. Again, every game today broadcast on newschannelnebraska.com or on TV. The score at halftime in Class A, Bellevue West 47, Omaha West Side 30. Wow, that's some offense in 16 minutes of basketball.
Yes, it is.
The Thunderbirds struggled early against Elkhorn yesterday, ended up routing the Antlers out of the tournament, and the top seed in Class A looking good against Westside. What will be the result in Class C2? We'll find out as the second half comes your way next on News Channel Nebraska.
Getting into the bank business was by accident.
From the perspective, purchase a new Chevy vehicle at Norfolk.
Mattress is the place for physical therapy.
The top team in Class C2 is on the ropes. Welcome back here on News Channel Nebraska. It's halftime C2 semifinals. GICC trailing Yutan 26-14. I talked to their coach, Tino Martinez, at half, and he said, I just told the guys we need to compete harder. Yutan was tougher in that half. Another thing, Michael, Yutan had a lot more energy in that half, and I talked to their coach, Justin Peterson. I said, are you happy with their levels? He said, hey, I knew they would have energy. I just told them at halftime, play defense, play defense, play defense. That's still what he's stressing. That's still what he believes. They have shot the ball pretty well, but yes, the defense end of the court is where they're going to win this game. Michael, let's go up to you in the booth. It looks like the third quarter is about to begin.
Defense is right, Chris. Thank you very much. Grand Island Central Catholic held to 14 first half points. This is a team that scored more than 70 3 times and more than 80 once in the regular season. The Chieftains D was on point in the first half.
It was on point. Add that to the turnovers, and most of those were caused by the Yutan defense.
Certainly
we'll see
no
what they
shortage.
have for the second half.
That's right, and certainly no shortage of energy, as Chris mentioned, and a lot of that coming from this crowd. Right away, a 3-ball. It goes! Trey Knudsen. The energy still there out of the locker room. Knudsen with his first triple. He's up to 7 points.
And you can just feel this confidence swell in the Chieftains.
Yutan took double OT to get here and a miracle buzzer beater. Now they're going to work. And their Red Army of immediate family nearby too. Turnover that time, the 5th of the game against Yutan. Right away, the Crusaders go down low and they draw a foul. Colby Bales able to bait Knudsen into it, his second. Colby Bales just 1 point there in the first half. By the way, this is your third quarter brought to you by Region 4 Behavioral Health System. There in the replay. I didn't make a downward motion, Randy, but there was contact.
And again, they've called the games a lot tighter today than they did yesterday.
Bales gets his own miss on the free throw, enters it to Jangmer, and he puts it through. Day Jangmer with a game-high 8 points off of a 2-point outing on Thursday. It's another thing from
back
that.
To the man-to-man.
An offensive rebound that time. Maybe that is something that can spark the Crusaders if they crash the glass and get second chance off opportunities. Oh, high degree of difficulty there for Colby Takota.
His first point since the first quarter.
Just took a dribble to the left, rose up and hit it. A 14-point advantage for Yutan. And a steal. Here's Samuel Peterson on the right side. Off balance, misses. Picks up the miss. Can't hit again, and the Crusaders leak out with it. Isaac Herbeck keeps his dribble barely and finds an open Bales for 2. Transition basketball on both sides, and the Crusaders are the ones with points out of it. Trying to shake free there, Brady Tim. They can't get him the basketball. Dakota, he wants the drive, draws the foul. Oh, it's before the shot. He doesn't take much. He doesn't need to be on balance to get those shots to go.
No, he doesn't. He's got a nice quick release.
Draws the damage against Jangmer, his first foul.
Yutan continues to be very patient offensively. Doesn't matter which defense Central Catholic is in.
Gonna wait till they get their best look. Dakota's been getting those lately. The crossover for Peterson. Finds a cut in Knudsen. Then the other cutter. But Dakota rejected by Jangmer. He's playing fabulous basketball. A block goes against the Chieftains. Brady Tim thought he was set, but the whistle goes against him, and it puts Herbeck at the foul line. A replay there showing maybe he was sliding over just a little bit. That's what the official says he saw. Herbeck hits the first at the stripe.
His first trip to the line tonight, he's got 4 points, make it 5.
Timeout after the full court press. That's a new look from the Crusaders, and the Chieftains want to talk it over. We'll take a break as well. A 10-point game in the third quarter on NCN.
Some banks want to build a better bank. 5 Points Bank is real people.
Platte Valley Bank is a proud sponsor of high school sports on News Channel Nebraska. Platte Valley Bank, your bank, located right next door. Member FDIC. Full court press shown by the Crusaders, and Yutan wanted to talk things over. Riding Knudsen down the court and drawing a foul. And Lowry his first. Coach Justin Peterson wanted to evaluate things. Avoid coming up empty on possessions and allow the Crusaders to come back in. Tim shifts from right to left and now tries to take it himself against Martinez. Rolls out of the left side of the cup. Here's the streaking Herbeck, slows it down. Good elevation by Peterson to knock it out of bounds. Past the midway points here in the third quarter. The lead still at double digits for upstart Yutan. The 4 seed trying to take down number 1. Got the stop on the inbounds play.
4 black jerseys in the paint with inside rebounding position off that inbound shot.
Neither side has had too many second chance opportunities today. Against this man-to-man, Yutan looking to do the dribble drive. That seems to be what's gotten them the looks, at least here in the second half.
They have 2 or 3 people that can put the ball on the floor and drive on the bounce. And this is a good passing team, especially inside.
Tim going against the much taller Jangmer. His shot altered and he can't hit. The Crusaders with another stop. They've held Yutan to just 5 points here this quarter. Inside to Jangmer, he goes to work. Not that time. The hesitation move, the bucket not there, but the foul is. Knudsen will earn a trip to the charity stripe. Second on Jagma. Let's see it again. It's a nifty move to get to the lane. Today's broadcast brought to you in part by Fireplace Stone and Patio, inspired living inside and out with locations in Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, and their newest location, Kearney. It's a great time to consider updating your old fireplace with a new insert and stone. Learn more at fireplacestonepatio.com. Three-pointer in for the Crusaders. And Martinez finally on the board. It was a 15-point game, which equaled the game high for Yutan. Martinez had had enough of that. Wide open for three. Can't quite stroke it, can Peterson. And out of bounds.
Another unforced error by the Crusaders.
The turnovers racking up now around double figures in turnovers.
I have them for 11.
11. They are more than around it. They are at it. An 8-point lead for the Chieftains. And pulled the trigger on the three, did Knudsen. Fresh off a 20-point performance a day ago. He's feeling it, but that time was off the mark. Herbeck looking, finds Lowry. And a kicked basketball by Peterson. Grand Island Central Catholic. Team that's getting used to being in the capital city. Their 19th trip to state. Hoping it ends with a championship. That hasn't been the case since 2000 when they were champions in Class C1, taking down Pierce in the final. Spin move for Jangmer. Can't finish it. Now Knudsen working the right side. Gives off to Tim. Tim against Martinez. Way over the hoop. He wanted the foul. It didn't come. Jangmer. Not going to try against Dakota that time. Get it into Bales. Keeps his pivot foot. Impressive job there, and kicks it out to Lowry, who sinks the mid-range J. 15 seconds for Yutan. It's a 6-point game. Number 1 against number 4. Will Hayes over to Knudsen. The deep three comes up short, and the Crusaders cut into the deficit. It's 32-26 at the end of the third. Nothing going there before the end of the half for the Chieftains. The step back three, not that time. Just 6 points separating these teams heading to the final quarter.
We're committed to providing.
What was a 12-point halftime deficit has been halved. Now just 6 points separating these teams as we enter the fourth quarter, presented by your locally owned USAVE Pharmacy. They support their communities and area athletes and are proud to be the low price leader with the hometown touch. Find a location near you at usaverx.com. Michael Shively, Randy Brown with you. Randy, what did the Crusaders do better in that third quarter?
They played defense better. They held Yutan to just 6 points. And
Jagmer gets the. That was so easy on the first one. He blew it. The second one, a little higher degree of difficulty, he put through.
That's one of the rare second shot opportunities the Crusaders have had.
Jangmer into double figures with 10, and the lead stands at just 4. There's a reason they're the top seed. Tino Martinez's team doesn't give up. They've trailed by as much as 15 here in the second half.
The other reason the Crusaders were able to cut in, Yutan didn't shoot the ball from the outside near as well in the third quarter as they did in the first half.
Just 1 3-pointer in the third quarter compared to 5 in the first half. And that one doesn't go either.
A off-balance shot caused by the defense of Grand Island Central Catholic.
3 ball for the Crusaders. Herbeck, he's on the mark. Isaac Herbeck makes it a 1-point basketball game.
He's got 8. His second 3-pointer of the ball game.
The feelings have flipped here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. Where will the offense come from for Yutan? Nobody with more than 4 this half, and Tim can't get the roll, then he fouls. Number 3 on Brady Tim, he was right at the hoop and it didn't go for him.
And that's just a sheer frustration foul right there.
Absolutely. Only the 3rd foul against Yutan. A pretty clean third quarter. 3 fouls on each team. So a while before we get free throws.
Overall, it's been a fairly cleanly played game.
Nobody in foul trouble. Tim has 3, and that's the only player at that status. Grand Island Central Catholic feeds it inside again. Jangmer with the right hand, misses. The putback's not there. The 3rd try, no, but a foul. It goes against Peterson, who comes away clutching his shoulder. Lowry taking a trip to the line. They're going to have to take out Peterson, I think. Joel Pleskotch set to check in. He's dangling that left shoulder. Does not look comfortable. The first free throw in. Here's another look at that last play. And yeah, on the left of your screen, you could see Peterson comes away immediately clutching that left shoulder. Lowry sinks both of them. The lead on the Crusaders' side. Up by 1, and now the pressure on Yutan. It's a foul on Martinez, only his first. The foul pressuring the basketball. Bales trying to get a steal, which would have brought the house down on the blue side of the arena.
And as a Carolina fan, that's a pretty colored blue, too.
Yeah, you like that powder blue? Tino Martinez, Nebraska's coach, Roy Williams. That's a pretty good compliment there, Roy Williams. But 3-pointer up for Colby Takota. He stops that run there by the Crusaders. That was an enormous bucket.
But now let's see if they can do it on the defensive end. And they
no.
can't.
The answer is no. Day Jangmer had a good high-low game going. Finished through the contact. Now Jangmer to give the lead back to the Crusaders. He hits it. Jangmer with 13 again. He had just 2 yesterday. Averages 10 on the season, but he has come to play in the semifinal. Tim into the lane. Can't finish again. Martinez behind the back to slow things up into the half court. The half court's been kind to the Crusaders here in the last couple quarters. Driving in, Bales took an extra step. Yutan has scored 9 points this half, and we played over 11 minutes.
And 5 of them from Dakota.
The offense has dried up for the Chieftains. Their only bucket this quarter was the Dakota three-pointer. We were complimenting their offense, saying patient, but they might need a little more pace now. Good spin move by Knudsen. He's heading to the line.
He is tough to stay up with.
It's Lowry's second, and I think the Crusaders will echo that sentiment there, Randy, that he's a tough guy to stop on the dribble. Trey Knudsen, a 14-point-per-game scorer, but he's a little strong on the first free throw.
He's 1 for 3 from the line in the ball game.
Makes the second, evens things back up. If you divide the scoring by halves, this half 22-10 in favor of GICC. Under 4 minutes to play. We're all square. Martinez can't change it, in Dakota with a defensive rebound.
Did a nice job of boxing Jegmer off the offensive glass.
The Chieftains want the lead back. Who do they turn to? Dakota working the left side, and the backdoor cut. Tim finishes. Brady Tim's first points of the half give the Chieftains the lead back.
What a pretty pass, too.
Oh, a foul comes in as Dakota robbed the basketball away from Herbeck.
It's going to be his third.
A 2-point basketball game. Herbeck could equal the score and hits the first. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part thanks to United Healthcare, where small towns matter. In for Herbeck. All knotted up again. The winner of this game advances to the Class C2 state championship game. Brady Tim. The spin, but the shot doesn't fall.
I talked about 4 black shirts being in the paint at this end a little bit ago. There were no black shirts in the paint for an offensive board there.
The Crusaders have certainly cleaned up their defense and a bit more this half. They've been on top of Yutan. Herbeck doesn't try it against Tim, and a foul on Dakota. That's number 4. Colby Dakota, the top scorer on the team in this game with 12, is now 1 foul away from being done. So 1-and-1 try here for Jegmer. Way short. Timeout taken. It's a full timeout. The teams will discuss how to break the 38-all stalemate. We'll take a break and return for the final 2:22 on News Channel Nebraska.
At Platte Valley Bank, we believe it shouldn't cost you much or just one.
Michael Shively and Randy Brown with you here on News Channel Nebraska. 38-all between Grand Island Central Catholic and Yutan. Tonight's broadcast brought to you in part by Stealth Broadband, proudly serving parts of Northeast Nebraska. We're knotted up, these teams discussing what to do with 2:22 left. Yutan basketball, what are they looking for?
Well, during that timeout, a thought went through my mind like I have been here with this Yutan team before.
They have shown they know how to finish, that for certain. If you've missed it, against Ponca yesterday with 0.6 of a second remaining, they threw it three-quarter court, and Colby Takota hit a shot as time expired. That's how that game went to overtime. Then in double OT, they outlasted the Indians. GICC
Yutan really hasn't gotten clean looks at the basket here much in the second half. They've done it off penetration, but they've been off balance shots.
It's a good point. The offense has not yielded as many opportunities, and nothing going in transition because the Crusaders cleaned up their turnover trouble. Three-pointer short from Knudsen.
And a long three-pointer at that.
He settled for that long jumper, and it wasn't there. Now the Crusaders have a try at breaking the tie.
And that's something that Yutan wasn't doing in the first half. They were not settling.
Has the patience worn thin? The end of game number 2. The Crusaders, they could eat some more clock here if they want to play for the final shot. Doesn't look like they're in any hurry. Not to bring up the painful memory as the Yutan fans there wanted a double dribble.
If they burn this down, I'm sure you'll see Coach Martinez call a timeout. There it is.
And right on cue, Tino Martinez wants to diagram something here. We'll keep it at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, tied up with under 40 seconds to play. We can see again how that happened yesterday for the Chieftains. We'll see if they get a chance out of this timeout, but here's that game-tying shot.
One last hope for the Yutan Chieftains. They'll lob it down on the other end of the court to Takota. Takota had a shot attempt. He nailed the shot, and the shot counts. The shot counts. What was it, a 2 or a 3? They say it was a 3 to tie the ball game for Colby Takota.
That's what happened yesterday, Randy. I don't know if it's what we're in store for today, but it wouldn't be a bad situation for Yutan fans.
Yutan would probably be happy to knock one of those down at this point because right now the Crusaders have the basketball, everything kind of in their favor. The downside is Central Catholic has turned the ball over quite a bit, and when you have to play offense for a prolonged period of time, things can happen to 16, 17-year-old kids.
Tied at 38. Here's the foul situation. 7 fouls on Yutan, 6 on GICC. So if there is a foul, it will be a shooting scenario and a 1-on-1. It's likely the Crusaders are playing for the final shot here. Yutan probably going to try to force something, force a steal just like that, but a foul, that is not what you wanted to do if you're the Chieftains. And immediately Tim commits it.
And that's his 4th on top of that.
Well, Brady Tim, the junior, our key player and a heady player.
And Herbeck 4 for 4 from the line, make it 5 for 5.
Herbeck hits the free throw. And a 1-point lead for GICC. 2 for 2. The sophomore calmly sinks them, and Yutan needs a score.
An enormous amount of time here.
They have 2 timeouts. Driving in, and the shot falls. Trey Knudsen immediately equals it back up at 40.
Now we're back where we started after the timeout.
2 timeouts for the Crusaders if they want to use it. Dribbling at the Nebraska end on the middle of the court. The drive for Bales. Kick out for 3. It's short. Rebound Yutan. 2.5 seconds. Timeout taken. And look how much time is on the clock. You can't write this story. 0.6 of a second, the same amount as yesterday.
They might go down. I don't think they're going to change anything. I thought they might go double check. No way to check and see how much time there was when the timeout was called.
High school basketball, no replay in high school basketball. Now, maybe with the advent of News Channel Nebraska's exclusive comprehensive coverage of the state tournament, we can add that.
Well, they could come up here and take a look.
Memo to the NSAA. Replay possible, but back to the game action. They did add time. The officials saying they saw when they blew the whistle 1.8.
Okay.
I thought it was a good omen that there was 0.6.
It was a good omen. But this is an eternity for Yutan compared to yesterday.
So you can you get a dribble here?
You can get a dribble. You can make a move at 1.8. Plus, they're going to get the ball on the sideline just into their own backcourt. So they're going to have an opportunity here to set a screen, free somebody up, and get a good look.
The ball on the right sideline at about the three-quarter court. Three-point line extended. Colby Takota is the one who hit it yesterday at 6'6", but he's the inbound man right here. The Chieftains and the Crusaders with 1.8 to decide who's going to the state title. Tim is short, and overtime again. Yutan against Grand Island Central Catholic. Regulation is not long enough. We still have semifinal basketball coming up on NCN.
It's in our passion, and
fans are into it. The Crusader fans are standing, and we have 4 more minutes of basketball at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. We don't know who's the first team headed to the Class C2 state championship game. Yutan overtimes yesterday, overtime today. The Crusaders winners by 3 yesterday, and they're heading to extra time against the Chieftains.
We'll see if 4 minutes is enough.
We will. 40-40. As far as what these teams did in overtime in the regular season, Yutan did not go to extra time at all. Yesterday was their first experience in the 2019-2020 season. For GICC, they went triple overtime against Wahoo on February 8th, lost by 2. That is their only experience in extra minutes. Three ball for Takota, no. This Chieftains team managed only 14 points in that entire second half.
And again, nobody crashing the offensive glass for a board for the Chieftains.
There's a drive, but nothing going. Randy, a quick note statistically. The scores reversed. It's 26-14 both sides in each half. So immediately flipped that score to tie things up at 40. Both teams, GICC and Yutan, had off halves offensively. The man that's done most of the scoring for the Crusaders gets the scoring going in overtime. 15 for Jangmer now. The 6'6" junior center for the team in white and blue. He's had a fine semifinal. Now Yutan, that patient offense that we've talked about, needs to go to work to even it back up. Knudsen driving the left, draws a foul. It was Knudsen who had the runner to tie things up in the final minutes of the fourth quarter.
And I think that's going to be the 3rd foul on Lowry.
It is indeed the 7th team foul, so still a 1-and-1 situation for Yutan.
Knudsen 2 of 4 from the line in the ballgame.
Sinks the first. On a dribble handoff, they just let him go through. Lowry didn't do a whole lot there. Maybe got him with the body some. The ball rattles free on the second, so still a lead for the Crusaders. Under 2 minutes to play in OT. Crossover dribble. Lowry loses it and fouls. Yutan heads back to the line, and again it will be Knudsen. Plus the fourth on Lowry. Well, he just went 1 for 2 moments ago as a chance to make 2 to give his team the lead. Hits the first. The front end so important, and now a chance to take the lead. Front iron, 2 for 4 in a 30-second stretch. We're still square. Under 90 seconds. The Crusaders turned it over last possession. Martinez holds off on the drive. Peterson went for the steal there, but Lowry didn't take the open lane after he missed it. The Chieftains really denying that entry pass to Jangmer now. Holding. The Crusaders under a minute to play.
Crusaders obviously looking for something specific or a matchup specific that they want.
And at this point, they could hold it for another 40 seconds and either force a second OT or get the game winner. And that's their strategy. Timeout taken by Coach Tino Martinez. The game tied at 42 with 38 seconds left on News Channel Nebraska. And shades of the Grand Island Northwest against Crete girls basketball game from last weekend, where those teams elected to hold the basketball for as long as they could in those extra periods so that other opponent could barely get a look at it, and the Crusaders hogging the basketball this quarter.
Well, it's to your advantage if you have the possession and can take it down. You can't lose the basketball game.
The risk would be if you turn it over, and the Crusaders have been much better in terms of taking care of the basketball late in this game.
I only have them for 5 turnovers here in the second half.
Still tied up. 2 points apiece here in overtime. 35 seconds against the man-to-man defense of the 4-seed Yutan Chieftains, number 1, Grand Island Central Catholic going to work. It's Kobe Bales.
Look for Martinez on a baseline cut.
Timeout, Tino Martinez. And it's a full timeout. Under 20 seconds to play. Martinez and company. The coach is discussing. We do want to give a quick thank you to our crew here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center and mention that this was not on our slate going into the weekend. And Randy was supposed to be in Sydney, Nebraska, doing his normal work. What was your Friday activity you had planned Friday night?
What was my what?
Before you ended up here, Randy.
Just...
You're going to be sitting on your couch watching News Channel Nebraska at PBA.
Yeah, that's what
Instead, you're here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center because of the situation with the fan attendance limits and tripling our coverage yesterday, doubling it today. And thank you so much to our crew that stepped up on a moment's notice to work camera, run replay, direct from the truck, and in Randy's case, provide our color analysis on a moment's notice and help bring this coverage to everybody across the state for free online, and we've been rewarded here by some excellent basketball.
I'll tell you what, Class C2 is absolutely loaded. It's a fun class this year.
And shortly, we could find out who's heading to the state championship game. The final 15 seconds. Grand Island Central Catholic, the top seed. It's Bales with the basketball against Knudsen. Over to the left end, Herbeck. 6 seconds, the lob play, and a travel. Mistiming the leap. Lowry came down with the basketball and gives it away with 3.7 left.
That a nice play drawn up to get the ball to Lowry on a backdoor cut with a lob. It just wasn't executed quite right.
And now it's the Chieftains' turn to take a timeout. Yutan tied at 42. Our Chris Williams trying to listen in on the conversation down their sideline, see what head coach Justin Peterson dials up. Both of these teams 3 straight trips to the state tournament. For Yutan, last year they made it to the championship game. They were unable to come away with a win against BRLD, falling 53-42. To get there, they defeated Sutton, who we'll see next, against BRLD. They also beat Ponca by 4, who they beat earlier. So a lot of repeat trips for these teams, but this Yutan team, seasoned. Is this a moment to define this senior class again?
I'll tell you what, double overtime last night, they're not afraid of it.
4 seniors on this bunch: Trey Knudsen, Will Hayes, Joel Pleskotch, and Colby Takota. Takota was the inbound man at the end of regulation. He will be again here with 3.7 left. 1 timeout for each team. The foul situation is bonus, a 1-and-1.
And they snuck somebody, Yutan snuck somebody in the far back corner. GICC didn't see him right away. They finally got somebody back there to guard.
Into Tim. He's going to have to throw from 3/4 court, and it's just short. We're going to double overtime. Tied up at 42. It hasn't been enough to decide it yet. Will double OT yield a state title contender? We'll find out next.
It's time for a reality check. You don't have to drive far to buy a Toyota or a Honda. Go to Cornhusker more scent. Tie dagger.
Only 2 points scored by each team in the first overtime session. Means we're heading. Only 2 points scored by each team in the first overtime session. Means we're heading to a second 4-minute grouping. And the Crusaders win the tip to get the first try at the hoop. Coach Tino Martinez's team launches the 3-ball. Herbeck a little strong, but an offensive rebound. Now Martinez on the left side. They look for Jagmer, but Takota read it and takes it away. Maybe a hair late on that delivery to the post. Knudsen went 2 for 4 at the line in that overtime period, and otherwise there'd be a difference. Takota, no on the 3. Now Knudsen to the hoop with the right hand, off of the window and down. Trey Knudsen gives the Chieftains the 2-point lead.
That lane just opened up. Nobody from Central Catholic moved. The rebound came all the way up to the top. Knudsen had an open lane to the basket.
Long rebounds on 3-pointers can always be difficult for defenses to secure, and that time the Chieftains got the second look and took advantage of it. Now a wide open Kobe Bales does not take the 3. They go to Lowry. He doesn't get a square up chance. A foul on the 3-pointer. Russell Martinez is heading to the foul line for a trio of shots. He shook free and confidently shot. The foul against Hayes. And this is a man you want at the line, Randy. In the regular season, an 86% free throw shooter. He nails the first.
It's his first free throw of the ball game. He's got 1 3. That's his 4th point.
Martinez has been quiet, but he's speaking loudly now at the line. Ties things back up and a chance to give the Crusaders the lead. The junior is off the mark. Free throws to take the lead have not gone well for either side. Now Brady Tim operating for the Chieftains with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in this second overtime session. Tim, the crossover into the lane. Scoop shot, short. Jangmer picks up the rebound. Now here's Bales. Poked free from behind by Peterson. An update on the foul situation. The next foul by Yutan will be their 10th, and the Crusaders will have 2 tries at the strike. Martinez enters it into Jangmer. The layup is there. Day Jangmer with a game-high 17, and the Crusaders back in front. Now the GICC fans clapping and stomping, hoping their team can get another stop. The second straight game in double OT for Yutan. Knudsen crosses over, goes to his left and finishes. Wow. Trey Knudsen has scored every point of the 2 overtime sessions for the Chieftains. Because we have the extra overtime period now, both teams with 2 timeouts. GICC, when it's been in this territory, they've elected to call timeout in this type of situation, talk it over, and then go at the hoop. Right now, 47 seconds remaining in double OT, tied up at 46. We'll take a short break. When we return, could it be the conclusion? We'll see.
Southeast Community College is your surgical tech.
Michael Shively and Randy Brown with you on News Channel Nebraska. All square at 46 here in the Class C2 semifinals. Crusader basketball. We do have one final to tell you from this session over at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Bellevue West 89, Omaha West Side 70. The Thunderbirds erupt for 89 points. They're heading to the A final. Here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, what do you do if you're the Crusaders with 47 seconds?
My guess is they're going to try and take it down and play for the win or triple overtime, unless they get a layup.
Crusaders going to wind it down. The end of the first OT, they didn't wind it down quite far enough on the missed lob play. Yutan had a few seconds to work with. Driving and a timeout. Tino Martinez sticks with his game plan of timeout, stall, timeout.
The tough part about this is now you have to get the ball in.
Right.
With a 5-second count, you have no more timeouts to stop a 5-second turnover count. So that, and the last time they did this, Central Catholic had a difficult time getting the ball in. They finally got it into the backcourt, but that's going to be the most important thing right here is to get the inbounds pass in.
Yutan a chance defensively to play spoiler, get a steal or turnover via the 5-second call. The Chieftains break the huddle first. Looking at the Crusaders roster, it's been Jangmer down low with 17 points. That's all right at the hoop. I'd be surprised if they go to him in this situation. Maybe Herbeck, he has 12 points. Martinez hasn't had a great game offensively, but he's a steady hand. He could perhaps be the guy they dial it up for.
On Jangmer's last shot, they ran a screen off of him out. When the defender came out, they had the pass, and they dropped it right back into him.
The Chieftains don't try to stay tight on that inbounds pass. They allow it to go to Herbeck. Herbeck with 10 seconds to work. GICC looking for Jangmer. Wide open at the top of the key. Lowry, it rattles out. And the Crusaders' last second effort doesn't fall in. That means we go to a 7th quarter. 4 more minutes on the clock. We still have Class C2 basketball at the Bob Devaney Sports Center.
We unleash abundant local assets.
Inspire
the highest level of service.
Who gains entry into the Class C2 state championship game? Number 1, Grand Island Central Catholic. Number 4, Yutan, are ready for triple overtime. Glad you could join us on News Channel Nebraska. I'm Michael Shifley. He's Randy Brown.
And Michael, I got to apologize about the premonition I told you earlier about that.
You did give some hints that this could happen again. The strategy for these teams has been long possessions in overtime. We saw a combined 4 points in the first OT period, a combined 8 points in the second one. So not much scoring by either side over these stretches. They're being as patient as possible.
Good defense by Lowry on Knutson.
And seeing if he could work the dribble drive. That's been the ticket, and he's the only player that scored in overtime either session for Yutan. 1 minute off the clock and no shot here in triple OT. I'm not a math man, but how many extra minutes now has Yutan played in this tournament?
Well, they've played 2.5 games already, and they're on to the third quarter.
2 overtimes against Ponca. They were victorious. Triple OT here against GICC. Knotted at 46, a minute and a half into triple overtime. Tiptoeing the baseline, and Knutson stepped on it. A turnover on Yutan. They had the ball for 90 seconds, or above that, 100 seconds, and did not get a shot.
And part of that credit GICC's defense.
Right.
They did not give Yutan a good look anywhere in that possession. Not that they passed up an opportunity. They didn't have one.
The defense was there for the Crusaders. How about the offense? A one-on-one here for Lowry. Dishes. Now it goes over to Martinez. Well, they had that matchup down low. Lowry guarded by Peterson, and they got out of it. It's a height advantage of a few inches. 6'2" on 5'11". They don't get it into him there. We're at the minute and a half mark. A 1 minute possession for GICC.
And they're running Martinez off of 2 and 3 screens at a time.
Credit Will Hayes. He is sticking with him. Jangmer to the hoop. Blocked. The Chieftains got a hand on it. And now they will likely play for the final look. Timeout taken by the Chieftains will break as well. We'll see what Justin Peterson draws up next.
At Platween, we're here to...
We've played 3 more minutes here in triple overtime and still tied up at 46.
Not only is News Channel Nebraska providing free basketball for folks, we're providing extra free basketball.
Is there a way to be double free or triple free? Because
triple free.
That's what you can find right now on News Channel Nebraska TV and on our websites. Who else can say that? Well, Chris Williams, our reporter on the sideline, listening in to the huddle of the Chieftains, and they're going to try for the final shot here. No surprise. They want to initiate at 12 seconds. Can they wind the clock down? Because you have to avoid a 5-second closely guarded call.
Don't be surprised if this is just a 1-4 for Knutson.
Will he even get rid of it? Right now he's being guarded by Marcus Lowry. And a timeout taken by Coach Justin Peterson, following the same playbook as Tino Martinez. One timeout, discuss, run clock, timeout again. 31 and a half seconds left.
You said whether Knutson will give up the basketball? I don't think so. He took it to the huddle with him.
Can you do that? Eventually the official corrals it, but maybe putting some Space Jam type mystical qualities in there.
Globetrotter ball switch.
Yes. All right, the Yutan Chieftains, winners in double overtime yesterday, in triple overtime tonight. Tied with the top seed at 46. Trying to make a second straight appearance in the Class C2 title game.
Well, if they make an appearance in the final game, they have earned it in this tournament.
No doubt about that. You will not be able to pry that out of whoever's hands it ends up in. We've seen the starters stick around in this game. The minutes really piling up for all 5 starters on both sides. Here it is to inbound Dakota. Martinez trying to deny the ball to Brady Tim. Tim will start with it. We mentioned that Knudsen is the guy they're likely looking for. And he has it. Chris telling us they want to initiate at 12 seconds. Knudsen guarded by Lowry. Hands it off to Tim. 10 seconds to work. They're at midcourt. Tim to the lane. Has it stripped free. The Crusaders have it and a timeout with 4 seconds left. The lane opened up, but collapsed quickly. Now the Crusaders will talk it over. 4 seconds left. Let's see that last drive. Oh, he just lost it. It wasn't stripped. Tim just lost the basketball. Well, maybe Isaac Herbeck did get a little lick of that basketball, but that drive was looking good there for Tim.
Thing of it is, the lane wasn't spread. There were 3 white jerseys waiting for him to come down the middle.
Perhaps a pull-up jumper or that floater that we saw work for Knudsen earlier. But hindsight, very easy, very different when you've already played nearly 1.5 games tonight. This team started out with so much energy, 15 first quarter points. They led by 8, put up 26 in the first half, but since then, they've only scored 20. So 20 points over the last 24 minutes for Yutan. 4 seconds for Grand Island Central Catholic to go to the state title. The shot is short, but a foul. And 2 shots coming for the Crusaders. Isaac Herbeck is heading to the free throw line. Contact as time expired. A great look there on our instant replay. Believe they got Knudsen for it.
And they're going to put him at the line. The officials got together and discussed it. And who was that foul on?
Knudsen. And timeout taken by Yutan. That to ice the shooter.
Well, you have it. Might as well use it.
No time remaining. Here's the look again. That shot by Isaac Herbeck. That was 4 seconds to cover a lot of distance. And I think a very heady play there by Herbeck. He knew he was a little out of control, had to launch it up and maneuvered his body so that there would be contact.
Yes. And Knudsen was a little out of angle. That was a tough one there, but there was contact. Whether at this stage of a game you make that call or not, I do not know. Just saying.
One official did know. He made the signal. The question was, did the shot get off in time? And that was a question yesterday. It went Yutan's way that their shot did get off in time. Did not go their way this time. So with zeros on the clock, it's Isaac Herbeck at the foul line. Herbeck, an 88% free throw shooter on the season. The sophomore sinks it, and Grand Island Central Catholic is heading to the Class C2 state title game, outlasting number 4 Yutan in triple overtime. It comes down to free throws. And the man who was 86 of 98 in the regular season sends it right through, no doubt. And the sophomore earns the dub for the Crusaders. We'll visit with our player of the game and the winning coach on the other side.
Welcome back to Around Our Area. I'm Mike.
As your every
Triple overtime in the first game of the night session. It's Grand Island Central Catholic winning over Yutan 47-46. Let's head to the sideline and Chris Williams.
I'm here with our winning head coach, Tino Martinez, and our player of the game, Isaac Herbeck. We'll start with you, Coach. You just look so even keel, so calm all the time. Talk about your emotions through 3 overtimes.
Well, I mean, it's a great game. I mean, you really can't get caught up at the moment or else you just don't know. And so you got to keep your composure. I thought our kids did an excellent job of that. You know, we executed some really good things at all the overtimes, and we had a fumbled pass here and maybe settled for a shot. But we just executed so well. I felt if we can get to the end one time, we were going to be able to have a chance.
Coach, you have such a young team, and there were so many timeouts, so many big moments that you were in the huddle with them. What did you see from them? What was kind of the mood?
Well, you know, our competitiveness was so much better the second half. I mean, they came out and they really punched us in the mouth. And so I got to give credit to our kids because they withstood it, and they were ready to play in the second half. And so, but, you know, their focus is so high. You know, we demand a lot of them, and on days like this, you're really happy for them because, you know, we know what we do on a daily basis, and they go through a rigorous, you know, time commitment, and they're willing to answer the bell to it. So times like this, I'm just really happy. I mean, Isaac just steps up there with ice in his veins, knocks him down.
Coach, you were down as much as 10 in the third quarter. You told me at halftime that they needed to work on their toughness. Do you think anyone is questioning your team's toughness now?
You know, I mean, they had a right to in the first 16 minutes. You know, but I think we, you know, squashed any of those thoughts because, you know, mental toughness and our ability to be stick-to-itive and things like that is kind of a characteristic of ours, but you just got to give Yutan credit. They're so well coached, and they got the Tim kid and the Knudsen kid who is good as anybody we're going to play. You know, so, you know, toughness had to be a factor, and we were able to be, you know, mentally and physically able to stay on top of that.
Well, Coach, one more game, the state championship game tomorrow. Good luck. Congrats on the big win. Now moving over here to our player of the game, Isaac Herbeck, just a sophomore. It's already a little bit eerie in here. There's not a lot of crowd in here, obviously no student section. Then you go to the line, 2 free throws, no one in front of you, just alone. Talk about that moment.
that's what you play for. You play for those big moments. You play for hitting game-winning shots. I've always dreamed of doing that. And free throws this year, I've been shooting well, and I know that it's just a moment. You just got to make them.
Was there any doubt in your mind as you walked up to that line?
No, I knew even if I missed the first one, I had another opportunity to make it, and there was no way I was going to miss either of them.
Obviously, you're a young player, and you have a young team. People kind of question that in those moments, those triple overtime, late-game moments. What kind of a message did you send today?
Sent that we're going to come through, even in big moments like that. You know, in the past, you know, we've had big teams like that. You know, Wahoo, triple overtime. This was no different. You just got to fight through. You just got to make the right decisions. You just got to finish out the games.
Isaac, congratulations. Great shots at the end. Go celebrate with your team in the locker room. Good luck tomorrow. All right, Michael, we're going to go back up top with you and wrap this one up.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. And what a basketball game. 3 overtimes. 47-46 is the final. The game-winning free throw stroke from Isaac Herbeck. We'll take a break and come back with your top plays on News Channel Nebraska.
We unleash abundant local assets.
Inspire charitable.
Beatrice. They're committed to bringing you banking the way it should be. Pinnacle Bank of Beatrice. Member FDIC.
Well, triple overtime, so there's bound to be plenty of highlights. Let's check them out in your top plays. Brought to you by Valley Vet Fashion Direct in Marysville and anywhere with you at valleyvets.com. Number 1, Grand Island Central Catholic. Number 4, Yutan. A spot in the Class C2 title game on the line. And it was the Chieftains who were trying to stop that top seed right away. And tough to stop it when they're raining threes. Not much for that in the first half from 3, except for Isaac Herbeck hitting it. We'll hear from Isaac a little bit later. Yutan, they were good in transition in that first half. Trey Knudsen knocks down the pull-up jumper. The Chieftains now back on the defensive side, and a spin move for Lowry goes down. After that, it was Yutan really taking control in that first half. They got the three-pointer to go with a friendly roll. This point up 15-7 before Dave Jangmer stops a little run. 2 of his 6 first half points. More pull-up game. This time Brady Tim. He had a couple of triples in the first half. There's a three-pointer for Will Hayes. He also had a pair from downtown. But as we head to the third quarter, the Crusaders start to climb back into it. It was a 12-point lead for Yutan at the break. More Dave Jangmer. When he got the ball on the block, he put it through. He finished with 17 points. You can't leave that man wide open. Colby Takota, 2 of his 12. Jangmer once more, this time absorbing the contact and still putting it through. How about that backdoor cut and reverse lay-in by Brady Tim? Now a close game nearing the end of the fourth quarter. GICC up a couple, and the runner goes for Trey Knudsen to even things at 40. We're heading to overtime. Extra time to decide things between number 1 and number 4. And to the free throw line we head midway through that second overtime as each team scored 2 points there in OT number 1. Tied at 44 at this point, and Jangmer puts the Crusaders ahead by a couple, under 2 minutes to play in the second OT. But the crossover, the drive, and the finish by Trey Knudsen. That brings us to triple OT and a chance to win it with no time on the clock. Isaac Herbeck, ice in his veins. The sophomore sinks it, 47-46 in triple OT, and the Crusaders are heading to the state title game. Wow, what a basketball game there, and for the first time since 2008, GICC is playing on Saturday. And they're trying to earn their first championship since 2000. Well, the Crusaders, they ended up getting it done, but that was not easy against Yutan.
No, that was not easy to get there, and this was one of those games, and last night's double overtime that Yutan came out on top was one of those games. You hate to see one of those teams have to walk away with a loss because they both put it on the court. This time the Crusaders got the better of the Chieftains.
Well, you have elation on one side, you have deflation on the other. That will be the story after our next game. Who will play Grand Island Central Catholic? It's either Sutton or BRLD. We'll set you up for our nightcap next on News Channel Nebraska.